Thank you very much, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Namaskar and good political, non-partisan entity to work in these fields. We will be presenting a... Thank you very much, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I have the honor to serve as your master of ceremony. I now request our chief guest, Honorable Foreign Minister, Mr. Pradip Gyawali, to alight the Sekunda and officially inaugurate the program. Present a short video clip, so it's not that long, but it's very informative. We have short descriptions about our 14 promoters. With objectives to work in the fields of diplomacy and development issues, Center for Diplomacy and Development was established in Kathmandu in February 2018 as a think tank institution under Track to Diplomacy. Center for Diplomacy and Development has taken mainly following objectives: to impart training to the aspiring young diplomats and others for the government jobs, to conduct seminars, workshops, symposiums on the issues of topical importance independently by the center or jointly with other agencies, to issue publications with articles from professionals, to organize to give lectures on the introduction of Nepal to the students in the high schools, colleges and universities, to conduct research studies on issues of topical importance, to invite foreign renowned professors and intellectuals to give lectures, to conduct study tours abroad for students, to organize dialogue and talk programs on national and international issues, to deal with miscellaneous issues which suits the objectives of the center. Former Ambassador of Nepal to France and Chief of Protocol of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Mohan Krishna Shrestha, has accepted to head our center as Founder President and CEO. There are a total of 14 promoters hailing from diverse backgrounds of national life. Promoters of the Center for Diplomacy and Development, Kathmandu, Nepal. Mrs. Anita Jadhari is an assistant professor of Kathmandu School of Law under Purvanchal University. She has also been actively practicing as a lawyer in the various tiers of the court. As a clinical attorney of the Clinical Department of Kathmandu School of Law, she has been representing the cases of victims who are economically poor as a legal aid lawyer. She has earned LLM degree in the criminal justice system from Kathmandu School of Law. Mr. Arun Ranjit is a senior journalist with extensive experience. A widely traveled journalist, he is a board member of various international organizations. At present, he is serving as the managing editor at the Rising Nepal of Gorkhapatra Corporation. Professor Ganga Bahadur Thapa comes from teaching profession. He has taught political science for 37 years at Tribhuvan University. His specialty lies in democracy, elections and local government. Professor Thapa has served as a visiting professor at Princeton University. Further, he was honored as the first Nepali scholar at Woodrow Wilson International Center. He was also a visiting scholar at the Faculty of Law at the University of Tokyo. Mr. Gyan Chandra Acharya comes from Nepali Diplomatic Service. He was a former Foreign Secretary, Permanent Representative to the United Nations, and former Under Secretary General of the United Nations. Mr. Hemantaraj Kolachapati has been working in tourism sector for long years. As such, he holds extensive knowledge in the field. He is an executive board member of Lumbini Development Trust and executive director of Athi Holidays, Athi Group of Companies. Mr. Khemraj Lakai is a well-recognized entrepreneur in hospitality education. He is the founder chairman of the Global Academy of Tourism and Hospitality Education and World Innovations Nepal Ambassador. Mr. Mitra Bandhu Paudel is the principal of Little Angels College of Management and executive member, International PEN Nepal chapter. He is a prolific writer on issues of topical importance. Mr. Mohan Krishna Shrestha comes from Nepali Diplomatic Service. He was the former Chief of Protocol of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He served as Ambassador of Nepal to France and concurrently to Greece, Monaco, Portugal and Spain. He has traveled to 71 countries and he wrote a book titled 3 Decades in Diplomacy in Nepali. Its English version is being released from London on 26 April 2018. He is founder president, CEO of the center. Mr. Navaraj Pandey comes from education field. He is the founder chairperson of Noble Colleges of Health and Education Foundation. He is also a senior vice president of Hishan. Under his strong and able leadership, college is growing robustly in recent years. Dr. Pramod Jaiswal is a senior fellow at the Pangol Institution, Beijing and Institute of Peace and Conflict Studies, IPCS, New Delhi. He is also faculty at Masters in International Relations and Diplomacy at Tribhuvan University, Kathmandu. Ms. Santi Lakshmi Sakya is a dapper lady in the public service. At present, she is working as Deputy Managing Director of Nepal Electricity Authority, Kathmandu. She is very active in social sector, contributing to the welfare of the society. Mr. Shankar Prasad Pandey is the former Secretary, the Government of Nepal and former Consul General of Nepal to Tibet Autonomous Region of China, Lhasa. He has worked as Secretary in several ministries of the government. Mr. Sriram Lamichhane is the Honorary Consul of Luxembourg to Nepal. He is also Chairman of Honors and Awards Committee, APR, World Organization of the Scout Movement, as well as Executive Member of the International Scouts and Guide Fellowships Asia Pacific Region. He is the former Chief Commissioner of Nepal Scouts. Mr. Surendra Sakya comes from business circle. He has extensive knowledge and experience in doing business in Japan. At present, he is serving as the Executive Chairman of Himalayan Network Private Limited, Lalitpur. Chief Executive Officer Mr. Mohan Krishna Swarsasa to deliver his welcome remarks.
Namaste, good afternoon. Honorable Pradip Kumar Gyawali, Minister for Foreign Affairs, the Government of Nepal. Respected Foreign Secretary Mr. Sankar Das Bairagi, although he is late. High dignitaries of the Foreign Ministry.
We have several objectives which are to impart training to youngsters for the preparation to land in the government jobs, holding of seminars, symposiums, workshops on the issues of topical importance, study tours, research studies, lecture program to introduce naturally beautiful Nepal. CDD's ambit includes many other activities which we will come across. It will serve as a modest effort on the track to diplomacy where the efforts of public play a catalytic role. Further, Center will be publishing a magazine titled The Diplomat, which we will be distributing a copy soon. We wish to develop this magazine to play a meaningful role to foster friendship and understanding between our government, general public, and international community in our country. Constructive suggestions are always welcome for its improvement. Distinguished guests, during the course of my duties, I have found a great reservoir of goodwill and affection at the international level for our naturally beautiful country. Modern nature has endowed our country with indisputed and uncomparative beauties and natural resources. However, the apathetic development process has destined our country to remain in a very underdevelopment stage. This touches my heart very much. All has changed a lot these days. Many countries have made great inroads in the process of economic development, making it as the number one agenda. Many developing countries are trying to develop through their own efforts and with support from the international community. Distinguished guests, Nepal has a long history of conducting a non-aligned foreign policy. Our geographical setting dictates us to pursue such a policy. Our country lies between two huge neighbors. Happily, both our huge neighbors are economically progressing by leaps and bounds. I feel that time is right now to adopt policies through which we can accrue benefit with good cooperation and understanding from our neighbors. This demands an active diplomacy, a pragmatic diplomacy, as well as a diplomacy which can convene and take into consideration both our neighbors. Economic diplomacy, which is being pursued since last 2 decades or more, needs revitalization to milk its intended benefits for the country. No matter how good a policy may be, its usefulness lies only in its effectiveness and implementation. There is an ever-growing need for fine-tuning of our foreign policy and diplomacy with the changing times and international in life. I have recently retired from active duty, yet I feel that energy is left to work for the society and the country. So, may I announce to you that I am retired, but not completely retired. Truly speaking, my passion for serving our country has not been fully extinguished. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all Nepalese people and women abroad love their motherland. There is no question about it. We have faced wonders, chaos, instability, poverty, corruption, and many other endemic socio-economic maladies. Now time has come for a radical change and improvement. In a democratic process, everyone has a right to say and express, but such exercise of one's right must not hamper of others. After the promulgation of new inclusive constitution in September 2015 and subsequent holding of all three important elections, these days people have realized that our political problems are on the way for permanent solution. Now comes the age of economic development. This is the buzzword hanging in everybody's mouth. We need peace, stability and economic development. Indeed, time has been never right like that of today for economic development. Nowadays people found a new vigor and enthusiasm these days for supporting economic development. This can be achieved only by a strong political leadership, clean and efficient government machinery, and an active role of the private sector. The mixture of these three elements will run the locomotive of economic development smoothly in our country in the coming days. We have many resources which are required for developing our beloved motherland. Scintillating Himalayas, abundant water resources, tourism, biodiversity are well recognized as resources with great potentiality for development. Even our multi-ethnic, multicultural, multilinguistic and social fabric attracts tourists. Further, Nepal is recognized as a country for reclining spiritual nourishment. As an ancient country, Nepal offers an environment for spiritual re-energizement. As a citizen of this marvelous country, I also hold some opinions which are essential for the overall development. I feel that we Nepali people have to augment positive thinking, implement civic sense, develop more ethical standards, and lastly and more importantly, master time management. These vital social ingredients will greatly usher our country into a new era of enthusiasm for development. We can develop our country with our own resources and also from the import of the FDI. However, investors from outside will not be forthcoming easily until our government rules are unshackled and eased up. We need to bring improvements in all sectors, including environment. So, there is an urgent need for rethinking in our society. Time is changing very fast in our country also. To achieve a fast-paced development, we must first identify where lie the obstacles and those must be eliminated. We have lost a lot of time. Now, we must try to develop our country by leaps and bounds. Time demands speedy economic development and distribution of its fruits in a judicious and equitable manner to the people. Availing of this opportunity, I wish to assure you that CDD will try to enthusiastically work with cooperation from like-minded people. We have come forward to make a contribution to our society and to the country. We welcome your support and cooperation. We look forward to work with you in a friendly and mutually complementary environment. With these few words, I once again thank Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and all our distinguished guests for your kind attendance and attention.
Basanthanai Basna Kutsalulai. So please, ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for this artist. जवान हो. A huge round of applause. Minister of Foreign Affairs. I now request the founder, president and CEO of Center for Diplomacy and Development, Mr. Mohan Krishna Srasasa, to present token of love to our chief guest. Program, Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Pradip Gyawali, to come up on stage and unveil the magazine, The Diplomat. For this, I also request all the promoters of the center to come on stage and unveil the magazine along with Honorable Minister. Our Honorable Minister, as well as all the promoters of Center for Diplomacy and Development. The diplomat is the magazine. Remarks on this special occasion of the inaugural ceremony of Center for Diplomacy and Development. A huge round of applause to our chief guest.
Thank you. Mr. Mohan Krishna, Founder President of Center for Development and Diplomacy, Excellencies, friends from media, business community, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to be here to inaugurate the Center for Diplomacy and Development. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate all of you and to express my best wishes to the Center and the entire team to achieve the goals and the missions in the future. I am quite confident that under the leadership of Mr. Mohan Krishna, a seasoned diplomat with a very good experience on this field, and the team which comprises various sectors of society with depth knowledge, I am fully confident that this center will be emerged as a think tank in the future, and it will give the policy inputs to the government for reshaping our foreign relations, our foreign policy, and our international engagements. For Nepal, diplomacy is most important area, and we have some positive potential in that. With a long history of peace and coexistence, with the characteristics of non-alignment and a neutral position, we have competitive advantage to play a positive role in this sector. We cannot and don't want to compete in other areas. So that's why diplomacy is the core content of our engagement to make a conducive environment for our national objectives, and Ministry for Foreign Affairs will always be very positive, open, and supportive to your goals and objectives in this field. Dear friends, needless to say, the role of think tanks is very important to not only set up the policies, but to develop, to reform, to enrich, and to update the policies and in the implementation areas as well. So I do believe that your inputs will be very, very important to achieve the goals of the government. Nepal has been embarked in an entirely new perspective of the political development. After the promulgation of the Constitution in 2015, and with the years, 2.5 years of our endeavor of the implementation of the Constitution, now a new era of political stability has been started. The government has emphasized its all focus to have a rapid socio-economic reform, change, and development so that we can address the aspirations of the Nepali people to have a better life. That's why the government is working under the motto of prosperous Nepal and happy Nepali. To achieve the goal, we have set some benchmarks as well, like to graduate from Radisson by 2022, and to achieve all those objectives and goals of sustainable development goal by 2030, and to embark in the core, in the group of the middle income country. To achieve these goals, we need broader international support and engagement. That's why our basic core of our international engagement is now has been shifted towards the economic engagement. That's why the economic diplomacy has been being more relevant in these days. To achieve that goal, we have already called international community to invest in various areas where we have a lot of potentials, like in the hydro sector, like in agriculture, like in tourism, human resource development, and many more. Nepal will always welcome to the investors of various countries so that we can be benefited mutually. The benefit will be shared with the just basis, and Nepal will be benefited definitely. So our engagement with the diplomatic missions, and their goal will be basically to achieve that broader international support, especially in the development area. We have already called our missions to re-channelize their efforts on that regard. Secondly, we have asked the international community, especially the donor communities, to re-channelize their resources to basically the infrastructure areas. So far, a lot of money has been spent in softwares, to awareness programs, to leadership grooming, other areas. These points are also important, but we need more concrete results. That's why the valuable resources should be shifted towards the development sector, to those projects which create new jobs, which bring the tangible changes in the life of the common people. So we have asked the international community to review the process and to focus on the development areas as well. Nepal will be engaged with all international communities, our friends and neighbors, with the basic policy of amity with all and enmity with none. That is our policy. Neighborhood policy is in the core, and we would pursue the policy of balanced foreign policy. We want to be benefited by the rapid economic growth of our neighboring countries, and we will involve other development partners as well, so that we can achieve the goal of the rapid economic changes and the prosperity. That's why our whole diplomatic engagement will be shifted, should be shifted towards that direction, and I think this center will explore new ideas and policies to achieve, to materialize our expectations. Once again, I would like to congratulate Mr. Mohammed, Krishna Sarsha, and the entire team to establish a very pertinent think tank, and I wish all the best. And I again reiterate our firm commitment to provide all necessary help from the ministry and the government of Nepal. Thank you. Thank you very much.
To present, to deliver his vote of thanks.
Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Pradip Kumar Gyawali, respected Foreign Secretary, I think he has not arrived yet.
respected high dignitaries of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Your Excellencies, ambassadors, friends from business communities, friends from media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I feel it is my privilege to be asked to propose a vote of thanks at the conclusion of today's function. First of all, I, on behalf of Center for Diplomacy and Development and its promoters, would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs for graciously attending our function at this hall. We are humbled by your kindness to inaugurate our Center for Diplomacy and Development despite your busy schedule. Sir, we are highly encouraged and obliged for your kind support. I also wish to record our sincere appreciation to respected Foreign Secretary, respected high dignitaries of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Your Excellencies ambassadors for spending a valuable time to be with us by accepting our invitation. We at the Center are planning to host lots of activities in coming days. We are therefore aiming to work with you in future in areas of mutual support and concerns. We firmly believe that we'll continue to get inflating support from you in coming days. I wish to express my gratitude to all the promoters at the Center for Diplomacy and Development for their keen interest and involvement in its activities. I would also like to thank our friends from business communities, media, and many others who were involved in making this inaugural function a success. I wish to thank, in particular, our MC of today's program, Ms. Manita Pokhel, for her excellent conduct of this function. I also like to thank our young artists and volunteers for their continuous support and cooperation to the Center in realizing today's inaugural function as a successful event. Finally, I would like to express our deep appreciation to all our distinguished guests for your kind presence here. We are truly honored to have you all here. Thank you all, and I request you to enjoy our reception. Thank you.
Thank you so much.